Hey everybody, this is Dr. Flight. I hope you're doing great today. I'm going to have a video for you. This video introduces you to the idea of product development. So developing products offer a way for firms to grow and to have new forms of cash flows. So oftentimes the development of new products is really the lifeblood of a organization as they move forward and they look to serve markets and also bring in revenue, right, and bring in profits to the organization. So developing new products is an essential component to anything an organization does, and so that's why we want to talk about that in a little bit of depth. So why create new products? Lots of different reasons. Some are market related, some are organizationally related. It's certainly customers have different needs that evolve over time, and as those needs evolve, products need to evolve as well. Market is saturated, meaning that in a particular product space, all the customers who could be buying are buying. And so we need a new product to break out of that routine. So a new product that radically changes the market space will create new customers, and it'll show more opportunities for growth for companies to bring in new customers into the firm. Managing risk through product diversity. So this you might not think about, but if you have a collection of products, if one of those products fails, the other products will likely succeed and keep your company in business. If you have a very limited number of products and those products fall out of favor in the marketplace, then your business could be out of business because you're too invested in a limited number of cash flows, right? So you want to diversify your portfolio of products that you offer. Natural product cycles. We'll learn about the product life cycle here in another video, but the product life cycle says that products begin, they grow, they reach what we call a maturity stage, and then they eventually decline. Well, when a product declines, that means we lose sales and we need to replace that product with something else. And then finally, improve business relationships. So one of the things you're going to learn also is that companies rely on other companies in order to bring the product to the market. And so for instance, if I have a product and I want to have customers buy it, I might have a relationship with retailers who would then carry my product. And here's the deal, retailers want to carry my product as long as it's something that's going to bring them money. And so when I create new products, it builds my relationship with the retailer who will then put the product on the shelf for the customers to buy. So there is interrelated relationships that organizations have, and developing new products helps do that. So let's talk a little bit then about kind of the science behind new products. One of the things that is true is that when we create new products, we're very often innovating. So there's this thing called innovation, and it's this degree to which we do new things and we're creative in creating new things. An innovative person is always trying new things, maybe taking risk where other people won't. And this is the same thing with an organization. Organizations that are innovative are creating new products. They're also leaders and pioneers. They're also taking a little bit more risk in the marketplace than other organizations. So this whole area of theory or marketing thought deals with the spread or the disbursement of new ideas and new products. So when we say something called the diffusion of innovation, what it means is the spread of a new product or a new innovation across a market of consumers. And that's something that we study quite a bit. So when we develop products, one of the things we want to know is how rapidly it'll become adopted in the marketplace. And this is the science behind that idea. So again, this idea of innovation suggests that companies who have it will be leaders. Sometimes we call them pioneers. A pioneer product is a product that radically changes the marketplace and is new, and it's unlike anything else seen before. This example that you see the picture of is a Sony Walkman, which came out commercially in the United States really around 1980, the early 80s. It started becoming super popular in movies and with people where they have a portable device they could put a cassette tape in with headphones. And that was new. It was never done before. It was radically new. It was small. It was portable again. You could take it with you. And that was the very first time we ever had music you could take with you that wasn't in a big bulky box. And so this was by far a huge innovation that Sony created and created an entire field of products as a pioneer in that space. Now, one of the challenges is when we create products, not all products are successful. So sometimes successful or sometimes products fail. There's all kinds of different examples, and you can pause the video if you want and just look at these in a little bit more detail. But eyeglasses that have integrated screens in them that are connected through Bluetooth haven't quite been commercially successful yet, called Google Glass. They might become successful at some point, but they're not quite there. Wearable tech is a big space, but this product didn't take off in 2012. Heinz has ketchup that they used with different colors. They colored ketchup for a period of time. One ketchup color was green, for instance. One was yellow. And it didn't really catch on. It was too weird, I guess. People didn't think it was kind of worth buying or whatever. New Coke, that's a history of a different flavored Coke product. Sony Betamax, so Beta or Betamax is a type of video cassette that competed with VHS in the late 80s, and it lost. VHS won out. VHS, or the mid 80s, I'm sorry, VHS was the dominant technology that was adopted as opposed to Beta. And then finally, Harley-Davidson perfume. I guess this product failed. A lot of people just couldn't get over the idea of smelling like the name of a motorcycle. It just, perception just didn't make it there. So why do products fail? There are 5 reasons products typically will fail. One will be, we'll call it underperformance, where the product doesn't perform as well as other products out there, or the product doesn't perform as well as promised by the firm. Second, market disinterest. The market simply is not interested in your product. It doesn't have the need or the want to be satisfied that your product satisfies. So in other words, there's not a need or want in the marketplace at this point in time for your product. Number 3, we've had this term saturation already. So again, market saturation is when the market becomes completely sold. So we look at a market, we have a certain number of people who are going to buy a product. When they all buy the product, the market is saturated. If the market's saturated, it's hard to come in with a new product to sell because everybody's already a customer of somebody else. It's not distinctive enough. Your product isn't clearly different from the other options that are out there. In other words, you have to have a distinctive advantage in your product. In other words, your product has to do something that other products don't do. And if you can't communicate that, then it's hard to break into a market and be unique. Okay. The last one is poor perceived value. Again, these are 5 reasons products fail. Poor perceived value. In essence, you've offered a bunch of benefits, but those benefits don't match the price you're charging. So in other words, the customer sees this balance between value or benefits and the price or the cost they have to give up to receive those. You're simply priced too high for the benefits that you're delivering. That's the essence of this last one. Okay, so yeah, products fail, and so we want to try to manage those, and we think about kind of what we can do to build a product that's not going to have these pitfalls, if you will. Now, moving forward in this idea of innovation diffusion, we have tied into this idea this notion that different consumers buy a product at different times. And what we're going to call those consumers are a different set of names based on when they buy. And so there's adopters then of an innovation or a new product. And we can kind of talk about these adopters over a period of time based on how many people are adopting at that time. And there are 5 categories that are here. There are innovators. They're the very first people who buy the product. They represent only 2 to 5% of the population. Early adopters. Now, the early adopters are truly innovative, but they're not as risk-taking as the innovator group. They're innovative people. They're early adopters, and they usually signal to the rest of the market the viability of this product. So they're signalers. They're communicators to the rest of the market. Then we have the early majority, the late majority consumers. So if you think about right in the middle of that curve, you're going to have roughly 67, 68% of all your sales are going to come from people who are early or late majority folks. And then you have the laggards. Laggards make up about 15% of the market. They're the people who are the very last to buy. They're the least innovative of all the different folks. Okay, so if we did kind of like a little exercise here, we could read this description. The first year they were offered, John wanted a tablet, but he didn't know which one to choose, so he waited until there were more choices, lower prices, and improved quality. John's part of what type of diffusion of innovation group? Okay, probably not an innovator. They would have bought right away. They would not have waited. Probably an early adopter is going to be, my guess. Could be an early majority, though, because they're really waiting for improved quality, lower prices. Once you hit that sort of late growth stage where the early majority folks are in, there's a bunch of new competitors who kind of come in at that point in time. So the fact that there are lower prices, improved quality suggests that there's more competition, pushing down prices, and that would most likely make sense in the product life cycle curve. Yeah, Tiffany always asks Samantha about beauty products. She considers her a well-informed friend who always knows the latest trends. For Tiffany, Samantha is a blank in the diffusion of innovation curve. So Samantha knows information before everybody else. She's a trendsetter. She tries things probably before everybody else, so she's an innovator. Tiffany is probably part of, again, maybe the early adopter or early majority, but she's requiring information to really feel confident about her choice. Denise and Janet attend a large university. Denise asked Janet's email address, but Janet says she doesn't have one. Okay, so this is a little bit dated, right? Janet would probably be considered blank in the innovation diffusion of innovation process. So somebody who's the very last to do something, somebody who's way behind the times, as you can imagine, is going to be a laggard. You know, that's just the type of person they are. And a lot of it's a risk aversion thing. A lot of it's maybe they don't see the need, that their old solution still works, and so they don't see a need to adopt a new solution. And so that's what it is. Now, here's the thing. We can focus on product development to influence how quickly people adopt a product. So we could actually build features into a product that make the process quicker or get people to function and buy sooner than they normally would. So these are 5 different factors. They're very common factors, but they're things that, again, we can measure. And if we build them into the product, you can either speed up the rate of diffusion or you can slow it down. So one is called relative advantage. That means that we're going to build our product to be better performance-wise than other products that are out there. Number two, compatibility. Compatibility means that the product is going to go with the pattern or the behavior of the consumer that's going to go with them, and they don't have to break their pattern. The product will fit with the lifestyle of the consumer. Observability is one where you can see the product at work or working. If you can see the product at work, then you're more likely to buy it. You buy it sooner. Complexity now is one where it's going to be reverse. So the more complex a product is, the harder it is for a consumer to buy it and the slower the rate of adoption. However, if you take away complexity, then the faster the product, of course, becomes adopted. And then the final one is something we call trialability. When you're able to try a product before making a purchase, then you're more likely to buy it eventually. So again, if we can give people trial offers, then that speeds up the rate of adoption. Okay, so this video actually has a lot of information that's super important. So reasons why firms innovate, there's 5 different reasons firms were, kind of driven to create new products. We talked about products that fail, and that there are reasons why they fail. We talked about different groups of adopters. So this is all focused again on this concept of the diffusion of innovation. And then finally, we talked about 5 different characteristics of a product that can either speed up, in most cases, the rate of diffusion, or in the one case, complexity, slow it down. Okay, be sure to study these. These are good study tools for you. Let me know if you have any questions, and yeah, thanks for tuning in.